Fox News wanted to explore America's addiction to government aid, so we sent an investigative team to travel across the country, and they found out some pretty startling statistics as brand new Fox News polls find what Americans are thinking about all of this. Take a look at this. Nearly 3/4 say that Americans rely too much on the government and not enough on themselves. Only 22% disagree. And with a record number of people receiving food stamps, 53% say this is because the government has made it too easy. 40% blame it on the severity of the recession. Joining us now with a preview, Peter Boyer, who is a Fox News editor at large. Peter, good to see you. So, just how easy is it to get food stamps?
Well, Greg, it is a lot easier. I mean, one of the people we talked to who has become semi-famous in this building as we've been making this this broadcast is an example of how easy it has become. There is no longer, there used to be limitations on food stamp recipients, and those were basically washed away when President Obama signed the stimulus bill. And it is now where it used to be you had to, the exceptions were if you were working or if you were involved in a workfare program or training at least for work, gone. Basically now you
just walk on in and say, hey,
here I
need food stamps.
Yes,
and you don't have to really show much proof.
By the way, Greg, as you know, they're not food stamps anymore. Right. It is now basically what amounts to a bank card, just like the bank card that, you know, anybody has, and they are not stamps. The recipient pays nothing into it.
So there's no embarrassment when you go in and pay for your food. It's like a credit card. You slide it.
Exactly. That was, in fact, a deliberate. There was a time, food stamps, there used to be a sense in this country that if you were on the government dole, there was a little bit of a stigma attached, a little bit of shame involved, and when the government decided to change policy and in fact go to a bank card, they called them compassion cards.
Right.
And
well,
that's where we are.
Speaking of which, I want to play a clip right now. And this is a guy in Southern California that John Roberts went out and sort of followed around.
Yes.
I refer to him as Surfer Dude. Yes. I think everybody does in the building because, I mean, this is a guy who surfs by day, plays in his band at night, and eats wonderfully, lobster generally speaking, on his food stamps, courtesy of you, the taxpayer. So here's a clip of Surfer Dude.
This is the plan. This is the long-term plan.
Yeah, it's the job.
It used to be that, you know, if somebody's on food stamps, it's like, hey, they're on food stamps, you know, loser. What's the attitude like now?
Like, why would it be bad in any way? It's free food. It's awesome. It's the help from the government. I'm taking advantage of it.
And we literally follow him around. We go into the grocery store with our cameras, and this guy, he's buying lobster and all this luxury food. You know, and his attitude is sort of, Peter, you know, why should I work when the government pays me not to work?
As he says, it's free food. It's awesome, dude. I mean, you know, it is, in a way, it's slightly grotesque. He holds it up and says, thanks, Mr. and Mrs. America. Right. You know, thanks, taxpayer. This was a fellow who, once upon a time, would have at least been limited and is no longer. And the risk is, critics of our current food stamp program, Greg, say the problem is it no longer becomes a sense of like helping and assistance and something that's temporary, but an expectation. This is a creature of that new sense. It is, I don't get it. Why would you even ask me? It is there, it's free, it's mine. Hey.
Right. And he says it's so easy. You just go in like once a year and say, hey, I need more food stamps. I don't have a job. And you don't have to show proof of anything. Okay, here's more food stamps. Or SNAP cards, as they're now
SNAP
known.
cards.
I should say SNAP cards, but people wouldn't understand what that means.
Which is part of it. It used to be called food stamps, and there used to be a measure of embarrassment attached to it, which in fact reflected a basic American value of I can take care of myself. And the government, to some degree, has helped to try to break down the resistance that comes from that feeling.
We don't have time for it, but one of the parts that you really focused on is how the government literally sends out people to recruit Americans to get on food stamps. And I mean, it's just,
You and I have talked about this. They gave an award to a social worker who went down into North Carolina, into the hill country of North Carolina, and broke down mountain pride. The pride that had caused these people to resist going on food stamps, increased SNAP food stamp participation by 10% in the course of 1 year. The federal government came down and gave her an award for that.